What's happening, man? So I'm forming an idea, or I think it's already formed. I am going to dive into depictions of black goo. Reason being, I talked recently in I think two different videos about how the depictions of black goo and its applications and its forms and so on and so forth in the Alien Predator universe, how it's almost up until a certain level it's direct. It's completely in correlation with what is present in this reality today. And I'm not just saying that from speculation. That's from personal research. I say it in every video that I talk about this, but I've posted pictures. I've talked about my experimentation and research and personal experience even. There are others that have experience with this shit. It's weird. It's creepy shit. It's definitely being suppressed to a certain extent by the medical community. More times than not, if you continue to go to doctors and hospitals talking about these things, even if you have physical evidence or physical, symptoms, many times they'll just kind of write you off in one way or another. And that's, also well documented. It's even got its own diagnosis now, like paranoid parasitosis or something like that, which is really heartbreaking, because if you see some of the videos of the people that suffer from these things, just stuffing a pill down their throat and essentially anesthetizing them and numbing them physically and mentally, that's not the answer to that. That's not the answer to that. And while I won't say that that's not my only reason for this undertaking that I'm about to take on, it is a big one. My overall research started to understand. And I'm just following the research. It doesn't have to stay what it started as. I think it will stay as it started, but as I continue to follow the research, I come to very specific and large questions, larger than, other questions, and they almost kind of demand me to go in those directions as well. So I'm still doing my overall research, but there's a lot of this stuff that tends to be metaphysical, and unless I can just force myself to have an occurrence of one of these types of phenomena, all I can do is look into the research of others or the experience of others, and I find that to be circumstantial. I don't discount others' experiences, but I refuse to just believe in something because many beings believe they're experiencing it. And that's not at all to diminish or to disqualify their experiences. It's just saying, it's very healthy to not just believe in something because you see lots of representations of it. And by that I mean there could be other explanations. Many are being told by influencers these days that they have demonic possessions or demonic or metaphysical attachments, witchcraft, black magic, and things like that. What my research is finding is that many times these can be explained by things that can't be seen, but they are physical. That's kind of another reason why I'm doing what I'm about to tell you about. There are many depictions of black goo and things of the like in movies and TV. And what that made me curious of as I mentioned, came from the Alien versus Predator like kind of universe, because the depiction that's in those movies is very close and very precise up until it gets to a certain level. Once it starts to create certain types of animals and creatures and stuff like that, even some of those are accurate. The insect type creatures that are in what is it, Alien Covenant. There is an insect that's in that movie specifically that is very close to what is an application of this technology in our current reality. So that got me to thinking, I wonder how many other depictions are kind of being fed to the creator of those movies and TV shows. Meaning, I don't believe that James Cameron or whoever made those movies, the Alien versus Predator or the Alien and Predator movies, I don't think that they just came up with that. I've talked about many times before how I believe, whether it's a secret society or whether it's just, intelligence feeding these narratives to the creators of movies and television and books. It's very obvious. It's been something that's been proven to me over and over and over and over again. And so, while I understand these are fiction, they're fictional depictions of things, I also am well aware that that doesn't have to mean that there's no truth involved. I think that's not something that I even have to drive home for you all, because you're very, very intelligent and usually follow what I'm saying. So I'm going to be looking into that. And one of the ways that I'm able to do that is because I got a really, really, I got a really, really nice donation. And if you'll give me 2 seconds, I've got to find Lena. So I got a really, really nice donation from Lena today, and I can't express how cool that feels for someone to truly appreciate what I'm doing, and to not just donate to help out with my research, but to the message that was attached was very personal, and we had a short conversation. We exchanged information. That's really cool, man. That's what I'm doing this for. It's I don't really have words. Of course I'm kind of filled with gratitude, but you don't know how it feels for someone to. I'm not classically trained in any of this stuff. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff, but I felt like I was being kept from the capability to do some of the things that, those that are involved with academia are able to do. They have the pipeline for being able to get grants, for being able to utilize tools and, materials, and that can be really frustrating to deal with, especially being myself and having, the record that was applied to my name from something that happened to me, not because of something that I did specifically. It makes it even harder. I'm was talking today about the potential for getting my passport back and looking into what the process for that is, and gun rights and all these things. It's messed up, and for someone to show their support in that way means the world. It means the world. So I really am thankful, Lena. I really appreciate that. That's one of the first donations I've ever gotten. The Silent Observer was the first, and he's a brother to me also. He's an artist, and he's going to be, I'm going to commission him to help out with some of the projects that I have in mind. This is super, I don't view anyone as followers or subscribers or any of that shit. If you are, giving me your time. You're allowing me to try to like share with you these things. I view you in a very specific way. And I won't say that every single one of those would be considered to be family, because I'm well aware that there's like, you know, weirdos watching, and as crazy as it might sound, agents, there are agents watching, bots, all kinds of shit that subscribe. I'm also very aware and am repeatedly reminded that I have family that I'm finding, and family that's watching, and sharing this you know, this research with me and this walk with me, and that shit's cool. So again, I'm really thankful to my first 2 donations. It feels weird talking about it because I'm like, you know, you guys know how I feel about money, but it's not something that can be avoided until we're able to kind of like topple the current system and make it much more organic, where we're just helping each other and bartering and all that shit. Money is something that we can't get around. And so to be able to continue to do the research and have some kind of actual budget and be able to like, you know, do real projects and bring them to you so that we can all look at it together and say like, what the fuck is going on? That's really important to me. And I really appreciate that. That's not a digression. Just I should have done that at the top of the video, but I'm excited about this, and you know, both Lena and the Silent Observer are benefactors of that. Seriously. So back to it. What I'm doing is I'm looking for all of these depictions of black goo and the associated technologies. That doesn't just mean literal black goo. And sometimes I'm going to be skipping over stuff. For instance, there's a show called Severance that's on Apple TV, right? Severance has a depiction of black goo, but so far, because it's only the first season, so far they have not gone into the explanation of the significance of said black goo. So while I really like the show, and I do recommend watching it, as far as this specific research project goes, it's not going to be included yet. I'm thinking that they're going to go deeper into that in the second season, but we'll just have to wait and see. But there are things like that where there are definite references to black goo, but if it's not soft disclosure of some kind, then I'm not interested at the moment. So, you know, I've found a few so far, and there are many that I've seen. I'm telling you, I've been on this truth and entertainment thing for longer than anyone's been making YouTube videos about it. Since I was a kid, literally since I was a kid, I would go to like Blockbuster and not even be able to choose. I'd have arms full of movies, you know, arms full of movies. And my mom would be like, look, dude, you can't rent all these movies. But it was almost intuition. You know, I could tell by the picture and by what it said on the back, like, oh, there's something to this. And it's always been that way. I've never stopped watching movies and series and all these things, and there's always some esoteric or occult value to much of it. Not all of it, but much of it. Even the ones that it doesn't seem like. For instance, Ghostbusters, I've talked about that one. There is a depiction of black goo in Ghostbusters. They made it pink. And there's another representation that is also pink that I can't remember, and I'm trying to remember it. If you can, or if you can think of something where there's a depiction of goo that is sentient or has some metaphysical properties, let me know. Shoot it in the comments or a message or, you know, whatever. You know, things like that. So I'm not just stuck on the whole color of the goo. Just they slide in representations and soft disclosures in that way, and sometimes it's not as it usually appears to be. So I'm not gonna like bog myself down with 100 movies and series or anything like that, because that would take forever. It's gonna kind of be an ongoing thing. It may even end up being like a specific show on the channel, because this is something very specifically physical. It's potentially got some metaphysical properties to it, but from what I can tell, it's mostly technology that we just don't understand. I'm not going to say whether it's alien or not. I, you know, kind of don't know if I believe in that so much, or at least in the way that it's presented. I don't at all discount the possibility of other intelligences and biological entities or races or anything like that. Just I'm scaling a lot of that shit back, and I have been. If you've been watching this channel, you've been watching my research, you know that I've been scaling shit back to like, oh, we all just believe this because it's been pushed so hard. I'm not doing that anymore. That's a disservice to us. So I'm doing my best to start this with a fresh mind, and I've already done it, so it's not something where it's like, oh, everything's going to seem completely different now. I'm just doing better at it now. Instead of going with pre-programmed shit, I'm reminding myself, hey, that doesn't have any proof. Let's see if we can find any, and if we can't, then it has to stay a theory, completely. Some things are theory, but there's physical aspects to it, and then other things are just complete theory. A lot of the mythology stuff that I love to study, deities, entities, all these things, until I have personal experience with them, or unless someone can provide redundant or at least very compelling evidence, then I have to stay objective, because I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for us all. I know that might sound grandiose or like some kind of delusions of grandeur, but it's not. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in your capabilities. And if I would have thought to myself, oh, you have delusions of grandeur, or, you're not important enough to do this kind of research, I wouldn't have gotten the pictures that I got of this specific phenomena. And there aren't many that are doing that. There are some. I'm not the only one by any means, but there aren't many that are getting that close up and that specific with their photographs of this thing, whatever it or they is. So regardless of what naysayers may come in to the comments and say or whatever, we don't need to worry about that. It just says more about them than it does us. We're doing real work, and they don't have to agree or disagree or believe or not believe. None of that shit matters, And that's, I think, a little bit of their job, is to make us feel a specific way so that maybe we feel less convicted in our missions. So, fuck them, And that goes for all of us. We can all do whatever it is we're interested in, and be contributing, even if it's art. Even if you're just, if you just want to make art. I love making music, and if I was just making music, I would feel just as convicted in that as I do within these things. So, find the thing that you love to do and do it, and you're already beating them. You know what I mean? Fuck them. Yeah, so I am gonna dive into that, and doesn't mean I'm not gonna do a Black Goo video sooner. I may check in every time I have a thought to expound on, or if a specific representation in media gives me a lot to talk about, then I'll just check in on that. I kind of plan on having something tonight, because I've got a couple lined up, and they're promising. If nothing else, Alien Covenant. I don't even remember if I've seen that one, because I think it came out the year that I was that I got myself out. So I might not have seen that one. I think I did, but I don't remember it. I definitely didn't watch it with the lens that I would watch it with now. So doesn't matter. I'm going to do it. I think that might be one of the first ones too. So I'm excited about it in a weird way. This is very horrifying and does not feel good to deal with personally, but it does feel good to do something about it. And it also feels good to share it with you all, because as much as I've been avoiding saying this, I'll go ahead and say now, I do think that more and more of us are going to be dealing with this. It doesn't feel good to be one of the first, because you get looked at, funny. You get name called and just all kinds of shit by those that are supposed to be professionals even. You go to the doctor like you're supposed to do and waste money. They treat you in a very specific way that's not very empathetic or professional. And it makes you mad, but fuck them. Like I keep saying, I'll do it myself. And if and when I'm able to present and it makes you look like fucking morons, You spent all this money on your degrees and your fellowships and all this stuff, and some dude comes out of nowhere out of prison, makes you look goofy because you wouldn't listen or work with them in the research. You know, whatever, dude. That seems to be happening a good bit. There are more than a couple of us that have come out of varying types of situations, not just prison situations, but just hardships, very hard situations, and said, you know what, I'm not gonna let this fuck with me like this. So I'm very happy to be within that genre of beings. It's not to say that all of those are good people. I don't know all of them. I'm aware of a couple, and they seem to be good, good people. They seem to be good beings. Do good beings sometimes make mistakes? They sure do. I'm not at all saying that every single one of those that have come out of those types of situations are necessarily exactly like mine, where it's more like a kidnap type situation where you are 1 second everything's normal, then the next second you've been kidnapped and you think you're gonna get out, because you haven't done anything wrong. 3 years pass by. That's one situation. That's my situation. There are many types, but in the end, I think that many preach one thing and then they apply another. I think there are lots that consider themselves to be like Christians or some form of like Abrahamic or even just religious, but they don't practice what they preach, in that, they talk about forgiveness, they talk about asking for forgiveness, being washed in the blood and all this stuff, but then they're very judgmental and don't accept those beings, asking for forgiveness and whatnot. So who fucking knows, I'm really gonna put a lot into this research. I may even take notes, but I doubt it. You know what I mean? I don't really like writing shit. So we'll see. I really don't want to. The last few times I was experimenting with the samples with the microscope and applying frequencies, the shit that this stuff can do is creepy. It is creepy, and it's not cool to see it up close like that. So I'm kind of like battling with myself as to whether or not I'm going to bust out the microscope and pick back up on the experimentation. Right now, I think I'll just kind of do this hands-off research, and if it gets to a point where I can't really escape some kind of questions or something like that, I've got to get under the get on the microscope to answer some questions, I'll do that. We'll see. But I think I'm going to jump into that, and I just wanted to give like a heads up or update or something like that. If you like any of the stuff that I'm presenting as far as my research and documentation goes, it really, really helps me out a lot. If you do feel like and are in the position to donate, I very much appreciate it. The PayPal is in the description on my channel. I think it's gammaauobsidian on the PayPal, but it's in the description on the channel, not on these videos, because I still feel weird about plugging so intensely, but it is helpful. So that's my own struggle, I guess. There's also the email. If you have any ideas or if you have any movie recommendations, series recommendations that could help out with this research specifically, or even my overall research, or just if you want to reach out and say something, the email is gammaauobsidian@gmail.com. The Instagram is also gammaauobsidian at gmail, or gammaauobsidian on Instagram. And yeah, man, I appreciate it, and I'll be giving you guys an update soon. I love you. Bye.